Check, check. How's our audio? Looks good. And we'll send a Discord notification. And we'll let everyone know I'm live on Discord. There you go. And docs. I need to see multi-chat. Hopefully that works. Multi-chat is read-only. Well, hopefully that works. And our CPU is only at 4.5. So should be good. Cool. I can see that in chat. Okay, so yesterday we were going to continue on and see if this is still downloadable. No, it doesn't exist anymore. I think I maybe downloaded. Where's my downloads? Cyan timeline. I guess we don't have to look at that. I was wanting to go through a bunch of these powers that we need to generate. We got a lot of them that we need to go through and build out. Okay, so we'll let it regenerate that. And while it's doing that, because that last one took 10 minutes, let's maybe work on the face and also that security feature that we had in Illustrator. So our card. So we need to not only just fix the face of the cards, we need to basically take this and what if we don't put the security feature on the face, but we put it on the back? What if we do a 1200 DPI print on the card face and on the back it's just a 300 DPI? So ask ChatGPT what it thinks of that. What do you think of the face of the card being a 1200 DPI print and the back of it being like a 300 DPI print?
Yeah, so generally it's best to keep both sides of a card at a consistent DPI. 1200 DPI is super high quality and it's great for really detailed prints. If you drop the back to 300 DPI, you might see a noticeable difference in print sharpness. So I probably recommend keeping them both at the same DPI if possible, just for consistency and quality. But if you have a reason to do it differently, it's really up to you.
Once the print the back is made, um, like once it's the templates are made at like we're doing this dye sublimation, right? So once it's at 1200 DPI, the back is going to be such a consistent thing, and the cost of it shouldn't really be that much different from a 300 or 600 DPI print, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. Once you're doing dye sublimation at a high DPI like 1200, the actual cost difference for keeping it at that high DPI versus lowering it really isn't that significant. So if you're going for that high quality and you want everything to look consistent, you can just keep it all at 1200 DPI and it should be totally fine without a big cost difference.
So what about the planet cards, the industry cards, the event cards, all those? Do we make them also 1200, or is it okay to drop them down to 300?
Yeah, so for the planet cards, industry cards, and event cards, it's really up to the level of detail you want. If you're already doing the main cards at 1200 DPI and you want everything to look super sharp and consistent, you can do those at 1200 as well. But if you're okay with those cards having a slightly lower resolution, 300 DPI is still totally fine for print. They'll still look good, just not quite as razor sharp. So it's really about how uniform you want it all to be, but either way is fine.
Okay, well, then let's just make everything work at 1200. What about the game board? Do we make it 1200 DPI as well? And the consoles? Or do we go down to 300 or 600?
Yeah, if you're aiming for consistency and you want everything to have that high level of detail, you can definitely do the game board and the consoles at 1200 DPI as well. That way, the entire set of components will have that same crisp quality. But if you're okay with the game board or consoles being a little less detailed, you could go with 300 or 600. It really just depends on how uniform you want everything to be. But if you're going all out, 1200 across the board will look super sharp.
Okay, so this is the back of the cards essentially. That's what I'm trying to do here, but it looks too flat. We need to add some sort of effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Adding a subtle effect or texture can really give the back of the card more depth and make it look less flat. You could try a subtle gradient, a slight pattern, or even just a bit of shading to give it some dimension. That way it won't look so flat and it'll have a bit more visual interest.
Um, I feel like we just need to generate like a steel pattern, maybe using Mid Journey, and maybe throwing it in the back, or I create it manually in Photoshop, which I think is the way I did it last time.
Yeah, either approach can work really well. If you want a quick steel pattern, using Midjourney is a great way to generate something unique, and then you can just drop it into the background. Or if you prefer the control of doing it
You want
manually
to
in
create me a
Photoshop,
prompt for Mid Journey, please?
absolutely, let's do that. Here's a Midjourney prompt you can use to generate a steel pattern. Create a seamless, detailed steel texture with subtle variations, a slightly brushed metal look, and a soft industrial feel. Make sure this pattern has a cool, modern aesthetic that can be used as a card background. You can pop that into Midjourney, and it should give you a nice steel pattern to work with.
This is a mess.
I'm really glad that helped. If you have any more questions
I
as you
get
go
stuck.
along, you're very welcome. I'm glad we could sort that out. If you need anything else down the road, just reach out. Good luck with everything.
Where did you generate that prompt? Which folder in ChatGPT?
So that prompt I gave you for the steel pattern, I just created it on the fly right here based on what you described. It wasn't pulled from any specific folder. It's just something I put together to help you get what you need in Midjourney.
Any particular settings in Mid Journey you suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. For a pattern like that in Midjourney, you might want to use the tile parameter so the pattern is seamless. So you
In
could
Mid
add
Journey,
something.
there's a tile parameter.
Yes, exactly. In Midjourney, you can use the minus minus tile parameter to create seamless patterns. So adding minus minus tile to your prompt will help the steel texture tile nicely and be seamless for your background.
Is there a pattern that you think would fit Astral Command?
Absolutely. For something like Astral Command, you might want a steel pattern that has a bit of a futuristic or sci-fi feel. Maybe something with a subtle hexagonal texture or a brushed metal look that gives it that cool kind of high-tech vibe. That would fit the theme really well and add a nice touch to the cards.
What do you recommend for an image upscaler site?
Yeah, for an image upscaler, a good option is something like Let's Enhance or Topaz Gigapixel AI. Both of those are really solid for upscaling images while keeping the detail. So you can just upload your image there and upscale it to whatever resolution you need. I'm glad we got everything sorted out. If you have any more questions or need help down the road, feel free to ask. Good luck with everything.
What's the difference between opacity and fill in Photoshop?
Yeah, so in Photoshop, opacity controls how transparent the entire layer is, including any effects like layer styles. Fill, on the other hand, only changes the opacity of the actual layer content itself, but it leaves any effects like drop shadows or strokes at full opacity. So it's a handy way to have the layer's content be more transparent while keeping the effects fully visible.
Now you know.
Exactly. Now you've got that in your toolkit. It's a pretty handy distinction to know, especially for fine tuning your designs. If you need anything else, just let me know.
So my dock size is 85 megs, working is 691, and Photoshop's fairly slow. And I think this computer has quite a bit of RAM. Is there any way to speed this up?
Yeah, definitely. If Photoshop is running a bit slow, there are a few things you can do to speed it up. You can go into Photoshop's preferences and increase the amount of RAM that it's allowed to use. You can also make sure that you have a scratch disk set to a fast drive. And if you're working with a lot of layers, merging layers you don't need can help too. So those tweaks should help speed things up a bit.
Let me just. This is loud. Okay, where's scratch disk? Performance.
Yeah, exactly. You can find the scratch disk settings in the performance
So it
section.
says I have available 55,801 RAM.
Wow, that's a lot of RAM available. So you should definitely have enough resources to speed things up. Just make sure Photoshop is allowed to use a good chunk of that RAM, and setting a fast scratch disk will help too. With those adjustments, you should see a nice boost in performance.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Sure, take no problem at all. If you need anything else as you're going along, just let me know. I'm here to help.
Okay, I closed the door, so that should help. Okay, so if I give it 90% of the RAM, it still should leave
Yeah,
enough for the computer to work, right?
absolutely. If you give Photoshop around 90% of your RAM, your computer should still have enough resources to run smoothly.
Optimize cache levels and tile size for documents that are tall and thin, default big and flat.
Yeah, exactly. In Photoshop, you can optimize those cache levels and tile sizes.
How many cache levels should I go to?
Yeah, so for cache levels in Photoshop, a good general recommendation is around 4 to 6 if you're working with larger or more complex documents. That'll give you a good balance of speed and performance. So you can set it to around 4 or 5.
So 8 is okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Setting the cache levels to 8 is totally okay if you've got the resources for it. It can give you even more responsiveness with large documents. So if your system can handle it, feel free to go for it.
And then I have 97 gigs of free hard drive space.
Yeah, with 97 gigs of free hard drive space, you're in pretty good shape for a scratch disk as well. That should give Photoshop plenty of room to work with. So overall, with the settings and resources, you should be all set for a nice, smooth experience.
Okay.
If you have any other questions that come up, just let me know. I'm here to help.
How quickly do those settings take effect? Right away after I click out of that window?
Yeah, exactly. Those settings take effect right away once you apply them and close the preferences. So you should see the improvements immediately as you work.
I know this is a large document, but it seems like it's just chugging along.
Yeah, large documents can definitely be a bit of a drag on performance sometimes, but with those settings adjusted, you should see at least some improvement, and hopefully it'll make working on that big file a little smoother. Let me know if it gets fun.
I might just save this and then close Photoshop and then check it again.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Sometimes just restarting Photoshop after saving your work can help it run more smoothly. So go ahead and give that a try, and hopefully it'll be a bit faster when you reopen it.
Okay, so that was kind of a rough idea at 300 dpi, and it looks terrible. And
Yeah, I get that. When you compare 300 DPI to something like 1200 DPI, you can definitely see a difference in sharpness and detail. So if you really want that crisp, high quality look, sticking with the higher DPI is probably the way to go. It'll make everything just look that much more professional.
so see how this stuff it looks like it actually looks blurry up close. Doesn't look great up close.
Yeah, when you get up close, you can definitely see the difference in detail. The higher DPI really helps keep everything nice and crisp. So if you're noticing that blurriness with the lower DPI, it definitely makes sense to stick with the higher resolution and keep that quality up.
Yeah, I know why this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good because the glow from that bevel and emboss is not matching the glow from what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish with with that. So that means that the color multiply works, but it's not really what we're trying to do. We're trying to get this color like that, and now it's glowing. And it doesn't want it. We don't want it to be. A screen would work. So we're in bevel and emboss, and it's the shadow mode down here. We don't want a shadow, so yeah, we definitely want that glow coming off of the bottom, and we're just gonna click OK. And it's not really doing this the way you'd think, but it is grabbing the color. And it's super weird. It's saying it's white, which is not what this is. There you go. But it would be a so we want something that's in gamut. Um, we want an inner glow, this color, and we want it to be in gamut, right? So this color, and we want it to be in gamut. So we want it to be this color. So we go with this color, 3-5 Ace 8, and then we go over to our outer glow and we make it the same. And so that takes care of our inner glow and our outer glow. They are, one is normal, one is, let's try to make it consistent and see what happens. Inner glow, outer glow, 75 and 100. And noise, no noise, and we want anti-aliasing on. No noise, 100%. Choke 10. Definitely want center. And outer glow, 4 pixels is fine. And then we want to go back to bevel and emboss, and we want to make sure that this is color picker, And we're going to that color. So now we're getting consistent color on that. And that should be a screen or a lighten. And it should be because we want it to make it look like it's glowing, right? And then our highlight mode. Well, we also want to make it dodge really lightens it up. And hopefully that doesn't do anything negative. So we go highlight mode, dodge as well. We go same thing. We're gonna get the same effect on each side is what's gonna probably happen. So 75, 75, anti-aliased, gloss contour. Do that gradual. Global light 120. Something the other day I set to 130. So altitude at 30 degrees. And we already decided this the other day. And could put a texture in. That's a real simple thing. Texture would add, like if we took the whatever we use for a steel backing and we add it as a texture to that, that'll make it look like it's interacting with it further. So pattern, and then we go. I didn't mean to cancel that. Yeah, I know. Contour. And do we leave that multiply in there just to give it some depth on one side? Just to create an illusion. Let's click OK because we can come back into this pretty easy. And see what she looks like zoomed out. That looks a lot better. And as a benefit, our security stuff is almost in that realm of readable. So interesting. So then we grab this and it's like not what I want at all. Don't like the grunge on it. I want the cards to look More like this, I think. And then I need to take this and upscale it if this is something that we're going to use. Mm-hmm. This still looks kind of grungy. Anywho, we can go down, see how it interacts. Darken. Let's try taking a PC down. Stream video is messed up. Perfect. Tell me what you're seeing because I need to take a look at it then. Because I did mess around a lot with my settings. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's broadcasting the wrong canvas. Default, and that's the right that's the default canvas. Well, let's go fix this. Thank you for saying something. Yeah, that's pushing out my vertical canvas to Twitch. Thought I had it set right. It looked right. Connection successful. Oh, you're good. You're good. Where's the? It says connected. Interesting. Okay, so I mean, the canvas I'm seeing is fine. So we just need to go into stream appearance, output. I probably just need to restart it. Where is appearance? General, output, stream, video. 1920 by 1080, 16 by 9. That's so. I don't know why it's doing that. Is that going to fix it, what I'm doing right now? Is it going to kick off the other stupid stream? You know, for a second there, it looked like it was right. How do I kick this other one off? Games. Is it going to kick off the other one? I don't know. Maybe I need to end the stream.